Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games and a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. You want to see more? Hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019, episode number 55. Halfway through the conference part of our schedule here in our sophomore season as a Conference A team. Overall record, 18-3. Conference record, pretty solid at 5-3. We're ranked number 7 in the nation with an RPI at 5. That is incredible. But next up, number 6, Florida, 16-5 team. They've got a definite advantage right now. We've got both of our recruits. They have both signed letters of intent. And the SAT scores are out, and both of them have qualified. Kennedy only just, but both players have qualified to make it next season. So we've got 2 overall A players coming in. Kennedy, point guard with outstanding point guard skills, and then quality defense and scoring threat. So this player, Kennedy, has the potential to be one of the best that we've had come through. Brooker, not quite as strong, but a really good inside scorer. Decent defender, tremendous rebounder. These 2 are going to come in and have an instant impact with this squad. And as we look at our roster, the 2 seniors, Derek Webb and Luis Barnes. And looking at that depth chart, Derek Webb, he's our 7th man. He's a 3-star guy. It's not a bad player at all. Barnes, our 10th man, 1.5-star guy. Meaning, as long as we don't have any early declarations for the draft, we're going to be solid next year. This is a home game against Florida. Let's see, do I have the email for it still? I do. Florida scouting report. We have a great chance. 10%. Florida heavily favored for this one. Ooh. One day at a time, please. One day at a time. Okay, here it is, Florida. This is definitely the matchup of the week here within the conference. I mean, you got Nevada and Maryland playing, but that is definitely not the same matchup. Cincinnati, Notre Dame. Cincinnati's going to easily win that one at home, or should anyway. Utah versus Miami at home. That's a decent matchup because there is a chance for an upset as Utah is the home team. But Michigan State, not much of a chance there. Oklahoma State and Louisville, that's not a good matchup either way. Those are 2 teams that are both struggling. Oregon, tiny chance against North Carolina to pull off the upset, but only tiny. So this is definitely the matchup of the week. Top 10 showdown, us and Florida. And I'd love to show that game, but you know what? Time constraints. I don't want to see us lose right off the bat. Let's let the AI do its thing for that one, and we'll watch another game that maybe we have a better chance on. If they really do have a 90% chance of beating us, what's the point? Duke, Syracuse, North Carolina, Florida, those 4 schools in particular were a bit overmatched against them, and we do lose. Not by a ton. And let's see, any changes? Miami, so Utah does not get the upset. Cincinnati barely beats Notre Dame, so surprising how close that was. That's it. No surprises other than how close that one game was. In our case, we did have a 7-point halftime lead, but we could not hang on to it in the second half as we dropped this game. And let's see here. That's the main reason. Their main scorer, Hammond, only 4 for 10 from the field. It's not like he had a great day, but he was 3 for 4 beyond the arc and 11 for 12 from the line. So efficient in his scoring. We were +2 on turnovers, -7 on blocks. That hurts a little bit. -8 overall, obviously, for the game. Steals were level. Fouls, yeah, that's what I feared. -7 in that department. So the game was fairly balanced in a lot of ways. Shooting, very, very similar. But they were a little bit better beyond the arc, better at the free throw line, and they got there a lot more than we did. They had 13 more makes from the free throw line than we did. So we dropped to 5-4 now here in the conference. That certainly hurts, but go against the best, you go against the best, whether you're at home or not. That goes back to another thing that was talked about within that last episode. I think it was last episode. Could have been the episode before that. I record my episodes in bunches, and it's been a little while since the last time I recorded. More than 2 weeks, less than 3, somewhere in that range. So it's been a little bit of time. Memory is a fickle thing. Yes, it is. But I know that within one of those last couple episodes, I was talking about the challenging nature of the schedule this year. Conference A, period, doesn't get easy. We're never going to have an easy schedule. Not happening. But a lot of our home games are against the top teams in the conference. Meaning, even those are going to be very difficult games to win. And then you go on the road against teams that you would hope to match up with and maybe play them at home, where you know you can win those games, right? And things go a little different. So, Miami is the next up, number 9 team. We're on the road again, so we've got back-to-back top 10 matchups. A lot more ranked matchups this time. Syracuse on the road at Notre Dame. Not as easy to win that one. Duke's got an easy game. Cincy's got an easy game. That's about it. Florida and Nevada, if they took care of us, they should take care of Nevada, but Nevada's a good team. Miami and I were both equal on 18-4 records. We'll go ahead and watch this one, though we'll try to make quick work of it. As I'm on the road, I very well could drop to 5-5 here. I do remember at the end of that last episode that we're coming into a very, very difficult stretch. Not just the entire calendar being tough for the aforementioned reasons, but the current stretch being the toughest of that. So let's go ahead and go fast as we're here in Miami, the ACC team in real life. So we're off to a tremendous 1-4 start from the field, 1-5 now. That's not helping us if we're going to pull what essentially is an upset in this game off. Smith has 2 fouls already and is on the bench. Not even sure when he even got into the game. So he had to come off the bench to get into the game. 1 for 8 from the field. Finally, our second make. We've had more fouls than we've had made field goals. We just got called for 2 fouls in the same possession at the exact same time. But we've had twice as many fouls called on us as field goals made. So, a bit of a rough start to this game. Just a bit. Turnover there. Now, we've had 5 blocks, but we actually haven't even forced any turnovers yet. They've got 0. So we're still a -2 in that regard. Starting to get a little bit of momentum built here. Just a little anyway. Fouls slowed down. We've only had one in the last 10 minutes. But we've also only made 2 field goals in the last 7-8 minutes. Still only 6 for the half. 15 minutes and we've scored 6 field goals. -3 on turnovers. +1 on rebounds. That's helping a little bit. They're not shooting great. I mean, 43% is pretty decent. But our 32% really bad. 9 field goals when we were at 5 just 4 minutes ago is much better. Starting to score at a regular rate finally. Fouls are now level, so we've caught up on that regard a bit. Still -3 on turnovers though. Give up another one. And we go into halftime with an 11-point deficit. The momentum they had early in the game never really carried over. We kept them from building momentum, so I never actually used a timeout there. But we played really poorly, and we only trail by 11, and we're on the road. 11's not a small deficit, but it's very much you're still in the game. And we open up right off the bat with forcing a turnover, and then give it away, and then give away a 3. So it was looking good there for a moment. And just as I'm about to use a timeout, then we stop the bleeding. They're under 40% now, so we've defense helping get us back in this game. As they nail another 3. 5 for 20 beyond the arc. It's half their attempts. They've only had the 7 free throw attempts. We've only had 6. So both teams equal in that department. In terms of players, Masick, Smith, Morrison all on 2 fouls. Otherwise, we've spread that out, so we're doing better there. Cougars got 10 points to lead our scoring, but they've got Lelane already with 22 points on 8 of 19 shooting at 4 rebounds. And that lead just got nasty big all of a sudden. Use 30-second timeout, take away their momentum, get ourselves back into this game a little bit, but we're still not making anything happen there. And the deficit just quickly grew to 20 as their field goal percentage went up. So they started making some shots, including 4 3-pointers at least in this half already, while we've only had 3 for the entire game. And the 3-point shot is very much part of our offense. Rebounds has suddenly gone to a -5 deficit. Turnovers, at least, well, it had leveled off. We're back to a negative now. But they've jumped to 50%. So from under 40% to 50% over the course of the second half here. So this is really coming down to them having... Oh, it didn't use my timeout. Well, doesn't need to be taken. We're down by 30. We only made 17 field goals for the entire game, 27% from the field. It started ugly and never got better. It really didn't. I mean, we stayed with only a single scorer in double digits, and that was Cougar, and he stayed on 10, and he was 4 for 13. Ross was 4 for 14. Masick was 0 for 6. Kennedy was 2 for 11. It literally does not get any uglier than that on an offensive performance. I think our defense was okay for most of the game, besides that run they went on for 10-12 minutes of the second half. I suppose that's more than the equivalent of a full quarter, and that's not so acceptable. So we lose 2 in a row, drop to 5 and 5. Not a good start to this episode at all. 6 to play. We're going to need, at minimum, 2 more wins. My target was 4, but after dropping those first 2 games, and we're still in our crazy, crazy difficult part of the schedule right now. 3 straight losses, and this is exactly what I was talking about. So number 17, Maryland, 6, Florida, 9, Miami, 3, North Carolina, 1, Duke. And even though quite a few of those games are at home, 3 out of 5, that is the most insane stretch that I've seen in a long time. You don't even see stretches like that in real life. Not even close to that, at least for most teams. Certainly not a team with our reputation. You know, maybe North Carolina or Duke might have a stretch of really tough games. But it's just getting tougher and tougher game by game. So we'll push through. Really, I was saying any win out of these 5 was going to be a bit of a miracle. And now that we're down to playing the top 3 teams in the nation, playing 2 of those 3 teams in the next 2 games, it's not looking terribly likely that we're going to get one.
You have new mail.
We only dropped to rank number 8 because of the quality of the opponents. RPI is still 9. Here's North Carolina next. I don't see any other matchups. Nevada and Miami, that's a pretty big one. Utah, Maryland, that's a good one for the edge of the top 25. Though both teams are likely headed to the tournament, it can make a big difference in their seeding. It's going to suck to go from 5-2 to 5-7. But I really do think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to get really excited if we get a win here. But we are so... Oh! Okay, we did it. We did it. 84-69 against North Carolina. A huge upset. Cincinnati also upsetting Duke. But that's a really good team playing against Duke and at home. And we might be a little bit lower ranked than they are, but I think Cincinnati's still a better team than we are. We've just had a better record up till this point. Syracuse with the easy win. Florida barely beating the Ducks, but that was on that night, Arena Court. Utah beating Maryland and not close. Nevada beating up on Miami. Surprising one on that. Notre Dame no longer ranked, beating Michigan State. And Oklahoma State winning a close one against the Aggies. We take care of business in both halves and win comfortably. They only ever had a 1-point lead in the entire game. And that was very early on from the looks of things. Kennedy was 17 points. Plus minus positive for every player. Bunch of guys in double digits. Kennedy with the 17 to lead the scoring. For us anyway. .49% from the field. Offense, much better today. 33 beyond the arc. They were 18. Fouls, oh my goodness. 29 versus 14. We got destroyed in that department. But we still somehow took care of business. +5 in turnovers. Level on rebounds. Outstanding result in that game. Now, next up is Duke. I don't know if we can ride this wave to going 2-3 in the hardest stretch ever. Remember the days when we used to play unranked teams? I've forgotten what that feels like. I have forgotten. Yes. But I'm excited for Charles. to join. We're going to say brother, Derek. Actually, I have no idea if they're from the same area or not. We could check in on that real quick after this game. Oregon and Louisville. Utah at Notre Dame. Not an easy win for Utah, but they're certainly capable of it. Nevada should have that one. Florida should have that one, but it won't be the easiest. Miami, same. Though Oklahoma State's got the worst record, so they're the most beatable. That's a good matchup right there. Maryland, itty-bitty tiny chance of winning that game. And we are at home. And this is going to help our rank, having beat North Carolina. Wouldn't rule it out. But it's a very slim chance. I'm already thinking now that 1-4 on that stretch of games is pretty dang good. Sadly. From 5-2 to 6-6. Shouldn't be applauding that. But we pull it off. Back-to-back wins over the top 3 teams in the country at home. That's the thing. At home, 71-56. We led the entire way. They never led in the game. The only time it was tied was at 0-0. And then there were 2 lead. How do you have 2 lead changes? Oh, tie. Okay. So we led 2-0. And then they tied it at 2. And then we took the lead and never trailed. That's what that is. Cougar, big day. 18 points. Ross had 14. Smith had 15. Morrison had 14. Kennedy had 6. Had some foul trouble. Again, the shooting was excellent. Rebounding was +5. Fouls were level. That helps. Turnovers were level. And in back-to-back games, we just beat North Carolina and Duke. And it looks like they lost both of their games this week. Because last time I saw, they both had 3 losses. Syracuse is going to take over as the number 1 team in the nation, I think. That gets a win. Notre Dame beats Utah. Not quite an upset. Same record. Just outside of the rankings, just inside the rankings. Oregon, big win over Louisville for them. Michigan State, big upset win over Florida. Miami just beating Oklahoma State on the road. Cincy, yep, there's that double loss for North Carolina. And Syracuse takes care of business. Utah, Texas A&M coming up on the calendar in the near future. I'm actually going to just delete all those, clear this puppy out. And we continue to move forward now with a 7-5 record. We're going to see where our ranking is, because after beating the number 3 and number 1 team in the nation, that has got to boost us up. We somehow go 2-3 in the hardest stretch ever, including wins over top 3 opponents. And if we're 7-5 now, with 4 left to play, I wouldn't say we're cleared by any means yet. But our chances of going at least 8-8 are looking very good. Chances of going plus 500 are now also looking pretty dang good, because the hardest stretch is now behind us. These last 4 games, and going 1 ranked opponent in those 4. Oregon, yeah, Nevada is ranked. Norton's semifinalists, and we didn't make the cut for the top 20. That's okay. That's okay. We're not quite there yet. We're still on the outside, and it's almost better, right? The lower we are down that list, the less likely they are to join the draft. These guys, top 15, top 20, they're almost certainly going to all be first-round picks. Get bumped off that list, maybe you stay for another year. let's look at the schedule first. What do we have left? So we're on the road at Texas A&M. They're only 9-15. It's a very winnable road game. But coming off the highs of the biggest wins in program history, might not be the easiest game. Utah at home. Okay, 2 of 4 are ranked, but Utah and Nevada, easier games from the stretch we just went through. Oregon at home, big matchup. Not an easy game, but we did beat them on the road earlier in the season after they beat us both times last year, so we're 1-2 all time. How has Texas A&M been against ranked opponents? They've lost every one of them. Every game against a ranked opponent, Texas A&M has lost. Utah. They've got 4 wins against ranked opponents. It's not going to be an easy game, but it is at home. Oregon this season beat Utah while they were ranked number 5. Cincinnati while they were ranked number 8. Both games at home. And we get them at home, so that helps. Nevada. They beat Utah on the road while they were a top 10 team. They beat Cincinnati on the... No, they lost that one. They beat Syracuse at home while they were ranked number 2 in the country. Maryland at home. Miami at home. Not a bad record for Nevada. That's going to be a tough one. Probably the toughest of the 4. But I think we can win 2 of those. I wouldn't rule out 3, but I definitely wouldn't say we're going to win 3. That's, I think, a bit of a stretch. But I think we're certainly capable of winning 2 of those and going plus 500. Seems possible. See the standings with 4 to go. How's it looking? Syracuse on top by 2 games now and ranked number 1 in the nation. Duke, after dropping 2 in a row, have dropped to number 2 in the nation and in the conference. North Carolina, Nevada, Miami, and Cincinnati, and Florida, all at 8-4. 2-game spread from myself in the midfield to the rest of the midfield. Maryland, Notre Dame, Oregon, Michigan State, all at 5-7. They're certainly within reach. 2 games down, 4 to play. 3 games down with 4 to play is Louisville. And then Utah, Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, all out of range. Texas A&M winless in the conference. We've got them. We've got Utah coming up. And then we have, Nevada and Oregon. So, 3 losing records, 1 winning record. There's a chance here. It's a road game. It's a road game. But this is a must-win road game. This will be ugly if we lose this. This is a take players out back and run suicides for hours if you lose that game. Even though they're a Conference A opponent. They were 0-12. Now 0-13, we did take care of business. It was a little bit of a game though. It was a little bit of a game, but I mean, we're on the road. So it's all good. Al Morrison, 7 turnovers. Jerry Smith, 5 turnovers. Not so good in that department. But again, almost 50% from the field. Really makes a difference. Rebounds, plus 12. Nevada upsets Duke. Duke loses again. 3rd loss in just a couple of weeks. Miami with the win at home. Utah wins at home. Oregon beats Notre Dame at home. Florida with the win, easy against Oklahoma State. Cincinnati, tough win at Maryland. It's a quality win. And Syracuse and North Carolina, huge matchup, a 1-3 matchup, and Syracuse on the road wins, and now at 24-3 looks like the favorite to win both the regular season and maybe the NCAA tournament could be in their future. And we've now guaranteed a 500 season in the conference. We're already 20 plus wins. And with 3 to play, we've got every opportunity to get at least one more win and have our first winning Conference A season after going 8-8, surprisingly last year. It was very surprising, and I knew the team was definitely a little bit better this year than last year. I didn't think we were top 10 rank and RPI, easily 20 wins, kind of better though. So I'll take it. This turned out to be a really good season for us. Utah is next. We are at home. Winnable, but not easy. Winnable, but not easy at all. I think I saw a flash of us having 90 points in the game. It goes by so fast. You can always pause. I've got to wait for the feedback. But I think it looked good. Yes! Okay. 9-5. 2 to play, and we've already guaranteed it. 90-74. I was right. That was us. Duke winning on the road. Michigan State losing to Syracuse. Close contest, though. North Carolina beating Florida to get back on top. Oklahoma State with the upset of Cincinnati, though they were at home. Miami winning at home versus Maryland. Nevada winning on the road at Oregon. Texas A&M knocking down the Fighting Irish once again. And we won this game in the first half. Let it slip a little bit in the second half. You can see the minutes did get spread out a little bit, so that could be the reason for it. Like Pat Asbury played 4 minutes and had a -8. All right, let's see if we are now safe and secure before we play Oregon, my alma mater. They are 14-12 on the season. They are 6-8 in the conference, and I am now 9-5 at worst. I would be 9-7, and yes, we are safe and secure now, and we're also just 1 game out of second in the conference. Syracuse has guaranteed regular season bragging rights. And they've won 9 straight. And again, we're going to be even stronger next year. Booker and Kennedy will definitely strengthen this team. I would be very happy with a 10-win season in conference. In Conference A, yeah. I could go for that. 1-1 in these last 2 games would be very satisfying. I wouldn't be too disappointed with 2 losses, but at this point, I think Oregon's beatable. They've not had their best year. They got 7 losses more than we do, and we're at home. Playing on their court. My bad, sorry. But we picked it up and we moved it to Portland. But we left yours there. Isn't it amazing what you can do in a video game? I did not look for the flash. I did not see it this time, so I have no idea how this game has gone. 10-5. So after losing both games to Oregon last year, this year we take care of business and win both times. Duke beats Notre Dame. Texas A&M with the road win at Louisville. Miami beating Florida on the road. North Carolina back to their losing ways to a Maryland team that's no longer ranked. Oklahoma State back-to-back wins. Or no, they had a close game but lost last time. But they beat Michigan State. Syracuse winning again at Cincinnati. Nevada beating Utah at home. 28-point victory. Huge halftime lead. They actually came back a little bit. We had a 40-point lead in this game. We doubled them up on points in the paint and fast break points and second chance points. Cougar, big day, 10 for 14. 2 for 3 beyond the arc. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 22 points, plus 27. %53% from the field. Only 50% from free throw line. 1 for 2 for the entire game. Really? Wow. 7 fouls. We only got called for 9. They just let us play. I guess that's what happens when you have love and affection for your opponent instead of angst. That must have been a quick game. Very few stoppages. With 1 to play and 10-5, the next game is going to be a tough one. It's Nevada. They are very close to us, the same record as us. We're ranked number 7 in the nation. They're ranked number 9. RPI is back into the top 5, but still, that's a road game. A road game to very much come out on the wrong side of, most likely. It's not a 0% chance, of course, but probably going to drop to 10-6. But I was saying 2-2, very possible. I was saying 3-1, not impossible. But I definitely did not say we would go 4-0. At this point, we're 3-0 in these final games. So not thinking that this is going to go our way. But it's more than a 0% chance, so we'll hold out a little bit of hope here. Just a little bit's enough. Come on, come on. Nope. Didn't get it. Duke wins on the road. Louisville, Notre Dame. Their collapse is complete. Florida, North Carolina. Big matchup there. Cincinnati. Yeah. We lose a close one. 3 points. 3 points. Oregon beating Utah on the road. That's good for them. Syracuse just beating Oklahoma State. Another close one. A lot of back and forth. We had the bigger leads. We had the halftime lead. That's disappointing. Feels like a collapse. Late collapse. 15 rebounds for Cougar. 23 points. 9 of 16 shooting. 4 fouls, though. 3 blocks. Ross had 5 blocks in the game. Both teams 41% from the field. They were a little better beyond the arc. Really tight game. -7 on turnovers. Massive advantage on rebounds, so. Almost looks like we should have won that game. And if the tide was turning, if we were at home, I'm certain we would have won that game. But the regular season for us comes to an end. Syracuse with a win streak of 11, 15-1. Only 1 loss in the conference this season. Should be heading towards the national championship game. No guarantees, though. Nevada, Duke, 12-4. Miami, 11-5. That's your top 4 teams. No promotion, so not a big deal. I'm number 5. Cincinnati, North Carolina, Florida. Oregon staying put. Notre Dame is staying put. They'll be here next season. 5-11 ended up being the mark for both safety and exit. Looks like Louisville is the team heading down. Utah somehow still ranked, even though they're only 4-12. But 16-13 overall, so they were 12-1 outside of the conference. That's a real sign of how tough this conference is. So that's the regular season in the books. We are going to have an opponent. Let's see, the first 4 get a bye. That means I'll be the top seed early on. And I get, Michigan State? It's winnable, but no easy games coming. We head to neutral territory. We're done at home where we were 16-1. But we were 7-5 on the road. That's a pretty good record. The only team that really, really pulled off playing on the road, Syracuse. In fact, they were identical percentage-wise away as they were at home. 18-2 versus 9-1. Top RPI does go to Nevada, though. Surprisingly. 22-5 versus 27-3, and they have the best RPI. So Syracuse took care of business where they needed to. Somehow didn't get the best RPI. I don't know, maybe their non-conference schedule is not that strong. I think this is possibly my first time of having an RPI inside the top 10 at the end of a season. 5th. But we're going to go ahead and call it there. We're going to go into the postseason play next time out. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Be sure to hit that like button. Keep this series going and moving along. We're there. We're on the cusp. One of these years, I think we could contend for the title. Maybe next year. Those players coming in, we've got to be able to recruit that top level, the top 20 players. But we're starting to get solidly into A players on a regular basis. So we'll see if we can keep it up. Bye for now.